What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another episode of Hitting the Bars podcast. It's Savvy Wavy One with the newest DJ, KOC. How's it going?
I'm doing good. Officially, not just a DJ. I'm a festival DJ now. So
You looked so cool.
Thank you. Honestly, props to the photographer. I was like, I've never looked cooler in my life than that one photo he took. I was like, is that me?
For those that don't know, Kelty performed on a huge stage. What did it feel like? Take us with it. Were you nervous? Thank God you don't have to sing.
I know. The half an hour, I did two sets. I did a half an hour before the headliner, and then I closed out the show, so I did the hour after. So it's kind of, when everyone's yelling, encore. There was no encore. It was a DJ. But the first half an hour one, nerves were 10 out of 10, especially because it was my first time using CDJs, which I won't bore you with technical issues. If you watch any big festival, the big rig they have, that's a CDJ. It's like $100K. I can't afford one. Do I want a Ferrari of DJ equipment? Yes, but I can't afford it. So I have a little small baby version. So it's my first time on there. So super nervous. I made one fatal error, but that's the thing about DJing. You just move on. No one notices. They just think oh, cool remix. You're like, nope, I royally effed that up. But that's just proof I was doing it live. That's what I say. And a lot of DJs screw up. They just are better at hiding it. And then it was kind of nice though, because I did royally F up once in the 30-minute set. So the half an hour set, I was like, you know what? I've already screwed up once. It's done. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes the thing you fear the most happening because it happened, you're like, oh, I survived. And no one booed me off the stage. They were literally no one noticed. I'm playing to drunk people. And so by the 60-minute set, I got into my groove. I was willing to try a bit more risky DJ things, not so just the basics. And I just had a blast and danced around and had a good time and had people dancing. And some of you all attended. And if you were there, thank you. You are literally my favorite person. And it was a blast. And I hopefully get to do it again.
That's awesome. So question, when you say you screwed up, how would people know? Wouldn't they just think sick beat?
It's one of those sometimes it depends. I accidentally hit the pause play button. I didn't realize how fragile they are on the CDJ. So I didn't even hit it. It just I just brushed by it, and mine's harder and because I quickly did it, but it just sounds almost but I'm no, I definitely paused the track.
Oh, so wait, that's hilarious.
We'll see. Probably people noticed, but maybe not. And it's just one of those of oh, did the speaker? I'm yeah, you know what? That happens. That's live performing. Sometimes things get in the way.
Do you have a DJ name?
I've thought about going to KOC or something, but at the same time, all my handles are Kelty already. It's kind of an obscure name. So I've always said, I'm just going to stick with Kelty, but say in a couple of years, I just want to start fresh, go put on a mask. I'll do a whole dead mouse thing and you won't know it's me. If I'm people are you're too old. I'm you know what? I'll just put on a face mask and reinvent myself. So that's my backup plan.
Okay. I have a friend here. It's my friend's husband that was a DJ. Wait, no. I think he's a DJ and a producer.
Yeah.
Yes. And he, for a really long time, nobody knew who he was. He wore a gas mask.
Yeah. I love it.
Do you know who that DJ is?
He
had 50,000 followers. He was a known DJ. I couldn't tell you the name.
I hate to say it. Now it's such not uncommon. There's probably I can think of a ton of gas masks. I'm which one?
Oh,
do you know what I mean? There's so many now.
Oh, sorry, not a gas mask. It was the old school plague doctor. Looks like a beak.
Oh yeah, that's oh, what's his face? I know who you're talking about. I can't remember the name though, but I've seen them.
He left. He ghosted the character.
And now
he's in, I think he's in EDM maybe.
Yeah.
She was we went to dinner with them and he was saying he had this page and he showed me and he was yeah, he just made a music video for his new thing, but he was a producer and he actually found that not being very fulfilling because a lot of famous rappers would want to collaborate with him as a DJ, but they really just would want a lump sum of money. And then they wouldn't sign off on the paperwork. And so it'd take years to launch the song.
Oh, wow.
He just was tired of that. And I think I'll have to ask her. I think I'm seeing her this weekend. But I
Please
don't want to
do.
give away his name. Maybe he's still
True.
like, I was like, so you're Hannah Montana? He was
Yeah.
like, what? And I'm like, that's the age difference.
Yep. Exactly.
But
Exactly.
with that full circle, I was like, what if you're like Sporty Spice? Because you're very Sporty Spice in your outfit.
I mean, I am right now. I'm definitely rocking a Sporty Spice.
But even the one you wore, wasn't it like a tennis skirt and a sweater?
It was just it was originally I was gonna wear a dress, but then I realized like the angle, everyone could see up my dresses. So I wore it was like a Reformation tank top and then a Lulu skirt and then cowboy boots, my favorite outfit. So
Not you
it's just
being a
practical.
fucking Lulu wearer while
I
you
would. I had
love
other
it.
options. I had other options, but I was like, I really don't want anyone looking up there. And what's the one skirt you can wear without people looking up there? And it also not being like tacky, like you know what I mean? Like you can wear a dress with spandex, that's a little tacky, but tennis skirt. And no one knew the difference. Like people are like, nice dress. I'm like, that's the thing, DJing, you never see me from behind. You can't see that logo. So it just looked like a red dress.
What a cool girl. Just wearing a tennis skirt when she DJs.
Just
Goals.
living the dream, living my dream. But how was your weekend? Enough about me.
My weekend was fabulous. My best friend Maddie came to visit. We've been friends since we were 13. And I was like, I need a baby moon because she's having a baby. So I was like, I need attention before you bring in a new bestie. So she was like, you know what? Her husband was on a trip. She's like, I'm going to come in for 5 days. And it was so much fun. And like anybody that has a spouse, like, okay, I love Michael with all of my heart. Obviously, I married the man, okay? But like the way my best friend from childhood has a chokehold on me that I was like, Michael, I love you, but like, I just want to hang out with her. Like, you can go to one dinner with us.
Yeah.
You can come in and like converse for a little bit. But like, Maddie and I were just in our own little la world, like watching Emily in Paris. We basically would like move our bodies to different parts. Like, we swam a lot. Like, every day we swam. But we would move it to the beach and we'd yap. Then we move it to a coffee shop, we'd yap. We move it to Pilates, still yap. Like, we just had so much time to catch up on. And she was 6 months pregnant and like, girl was walking with me. We're doing workouts. She's swimming for 2 hours.
Goals.
I know. Absolutely.
I love that for her. Honestly, I that's the dream. Just moving around and yapping, having coffee with your girlfriend. Like, what more could you want?
I know. Yesterday I was spending time with Michael and I was like, he went to New York for a conference. So I was like, oh, I'm sorry, I don't really get to see you. Like, I've been kind of busy. And he was like, well, did you have fun with Maddie? I was like, I did. I'm like, I'm so sorry if we made you feel left out. He's like, I know how you and Maddie are. We've been together almost like 9 years. This girl, like, it's fine. I'm like, thank you. But we do it to her husband too. We're like, hi. And then we're like, okay, leave us alone.
Yeah.
Let us chat. They need to listen to Taylor Swift.
Exactly. It's times just for the girls. Just because I'm married doesn't mean you have to spend every waking hour together. You need time with your girls. You need it.
I believe like independence is a huge thing in relationships.
Fully.
Like, don't ditch your girlfriends because you're all caught up in a boy, or I don't like that joke. That's like, when you protected your peace too hard, now your only friend is your husband. I'm like, no, that's actually like not good. Like, your girlfriends, like in Sex and the City, they're like, why not? What is that saying they say? Like, we're each other's soulmates, and the guys are someone to have fun with. And it's like, of course, love your spouse no matter what.
Of course.
But your girlfriends are like some of your longest relationships, no matter what, which I think is really cool.
And I think like not most toxic thing. There's a lot more toxic things. Besides toxic, you do is just like have one person in your life, because then they're reliable. You'll hate your husband because you'll just be like, oh, I want to have girly chats. And your husband's like, oh yeah, well, why don't you just call her? That wasn't the answer I wanted. I wanted you to bitch about her. And then no, you don't get how this works. And like I mean, it's so much on like one person, and like versus you need your girlfriends for certain things. You need your parents for certain things. You need whatever. You need those different people. And then otherwise you'll just grow to hate them because you'll talk to a boy and be like, yeah. And then they'll give you rational responses. I was like, I didn't come to you for a rational response.
I hate that. Literally yesterday, I was all huffing and puffing over this annoying doctor's appointment. And Michael's like, I'm like giving him the full detail that I normally would. And he's like, can you just get to the chase on this? And I'm like, are you kidding me? Let me bitch about this. And he's like, I mean, I'm so sorry, but like, I'm working right now. And I was like, let me voice memo Maddie then.
Yep.
So she already left. I was like, let me tell you.
That's why you can't lose your girlfriends. You can't lose your girlfriends in a relationship because men will never understand.
They won't. So how was your weekend besides the biggest performance of your life?
I mean, that kind of took the cake of it because, it takes a lot of time and effort. And then I had to fly back and then I had to be like, oh, yeah, laundry. So it was really just get my laundry and life together in 24 hours before back to work. And I take off this weekend because a certain someone named my brother is getting married. So it was a little bit of a quick turnaround, but we're here, we're grinding. It's a good time to be alive.
I love it. That's going to be such a fun wedding for you.
I know. I can't wait. My only sibling, so I'm like, oh my God. He was
Oh
he
my
was
gosh.
my annoying little brother. It's gonna be a husband, not even just like a boyfriend, a husband. That's
I know.
crazy.
Isn't that
So,
wild?
but I'm so excited to see family, everyone together. Like I love weddings so much. Oh,
Me too. That's so fun. Okay, well, what's
mhm.
your first hot take then?
My hot take is maybe not a hot take as much as like, girls, I need your help. Am I in the wrong? Am I the villain? I was getting my nails done for said wedding on Monday. And suddenly before I'm just like in my own world watching YouTube videos and I feel a like crunch on my finger. And I look down and this nail tag is just reaming in my nail. And she's like, see, you got a hangnail. And my finger's like gushing. I was like, I didn't really have a hangnail like that. Like maybe a little, but like I'm pretty nice with my hands. Like a lot of lotion. Like anyways, but she's like digging into it. Like you can obviously just go in and cut it, but she's like digging past the cutting. Do you know what I
Oh.
mean? And so like there's like and around, and so there's all this bleeding. She's like, no, there's a hangnail there. See, I had to cut it out. That's why you're bleeding. And I was like, okay. And then I was like, okay, maybe that's what happened. And then while I go to pay, the one girl saw my finger. She's like, are you okay? Did we do that? And like, I didn't know how to respond. I was like, yeah, but it's fine. Like, and you could tell she was going to like take it away to like give me a discount or anything. I was like, no, it's fine. Like, and then the nail tech comes up. She's like, no, I told you it was like that when you came in. I fixed it. I was like, no, like, don't worry. I'll still tip you. I still pay. Like, it wasn't that big. Don't worry. Like, but you know what I mean? I was like, and I want to genuinely know. I was like, am I in the wrong? I had a hangnail, and that's just what you have to do. You have to dig in there to get out. But I've been getting my nails done for 15 years, and I've never had that. So who's in the wrong? Hot take. Am I in the wrong or is she? I genuinely don't know.
I personally think she's in the wrong, which I
Okay.
think she noticed, but you're very kind. So you said it's okay because at the end of the day, first world problems.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think that's really weird and I would feel really uncomfortable too. I think a polite professional way probably would have been like, how do you want me to handle this? You want me to cut it? You want me to dig it out? But like, I kind of feel like sometimes the tools freak me out as well. And like,
Mm-hmm.
like I would have been like, I'm going to do it myself at home.
I
But
know.
hangnails are the worst because if you keep peeling them, they just get longer and longer. So like it probably would have been better for you to just leave it and let it like dry off. That sounds so gross. But like,
I know.
like I think she definitely was in the wrong personally, but at least, she did like I think she got embarrassed. She was probably, trying to not make a fuss. I like and not bring it up to the person checking out, which I get.
Yeah.
But ooh, I'm so sorry.
It's all good. It wasn't like that. Like I said, it wasn't that big of a deal. But I kind of genuinely left. I was like, was I in the wrong? Like who was in the like? You know what I mean? Like I was like, oh, am I the problem, or or should I? Like I wasn't offended. Like I've been cut at the nail tech before. Like it's accidents happen sometimes. You know what I mean? And especially I have such dry, sensitive skin. It's gonna crack. But do you know what I mean? I kind of left being like, should I be upset about this? I'm not, but like, should I?
Yeah, that is so strange.
Yeah. It was so now I'm rocking a nice little band-aid, so that's cute.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
not after your fresh nail too.
I know that's the irony. I was like, no, of course it's the one of the few times your nails actually matter, a wedding. But you know what? We're okay.
Maybe it'll be
First world
healed.
problems.
Yeah,
I
by
have
then.
faith. I got one of those fancy, like healing band-aids. So
Oh, nice.
review coming soon. Could have just wasted $1, but I was convinced it's gonna help.
Okay, that sounds cool. Well, my hot take is you don't wear glasses, but like
I do.
why did I've never seen you wear glasses in
I only
my
wear them
entire
at night.
life.
Contacts.
Okay, so then let me get your take on this.
Okay.
As a fellow four-eyed person, do you deeply hate glasses? Like as in they're uncomfortable.
Just reverse 20 seconds. Have you ever seen me in glasses? There's your answer. Despise.
I know, I'm like,
despise wearing them.
how many times have I seen you And like literally, I don't remember you ever, even at night. But usually
Mhm.
we'll be like, good night, and go our separate ways. So maybe I just
Yeah.
never seen you with glasses. But like today, I was like, you know what? I'm going to wear my glasses all day, give my eyes a break.
Mhm.
No. Within 20 minutes, I was like, I hate the bridge of my nose, always is sore, and it makes me a little dizzy. And I'm like, how do people wear glasses all the time?
It blows my mind. And when did you have to start wearing glasses?
When I was in seventh grade, because I couldn't read the
Mm.
math board. When did you?
See, I didn't until I was like in my mid 20s. So like I'm not used to it
Oh,
at all. So it's I can't prove it, but apparently your eyes will adapt and there's a direct correlation with me editing YouTube videos and my eyesight just plummeting. And now I can't see distance. So I can't see a TV. That's why I only wear them at
mm.
night is and then contacts the rest of the day. I just can't see the TV. That's the only time I really need them. But yeah, don't stare too tight at a screen. It will ruin your eyes.
I know. Michael has been wearing blue blockers. He has like 20/20 vision. And
Mhm.
he was like, man, like he lost his blue blockers. He's like,
Mhm.
can you book a eye appointment with the doctor? And I was like, oh my God. Where I'm like always going to the optometrist.
Mhm.
Like I have so many random eye issues. I always have. So I just go to the doctor like twice a year. And
Smart.
I was like, yeah, absolutely. Let me do that. And then he found his blue blockers and all of a sudden his headache goes away. And I'm like, sir,
Yeah.
beware your
Mhm.
eyeballs.
Very
But
careful.
okay, well, good to know. I'm glad to know this.
Mhm.
And, I figured why not get into our topic for today? I
Please.
thought it would be fun to kind of just go over, today I wanted to talk about how to stay consistent in your fitness routine, even when life gets in the way. Whether it's going out with your friends, maybe you just have a busy schedule, school starting back up, which also means for teachers, or if you're a student, maybe moms, or just dealing with plain burnout. I feel like sometimes around this year, you can get really fatigued and just be like, screw it, I'll try next year. So I
Mhm.
thought, why not kind of give some tips and just kind of go over little things that we do that kind of helps combat that and keep us consistent.
Mhm. I love it. Let's jump in.
Okay. So, first thing is life happens. I feel like nobody ever acknowledges this, and just kind of talking about how not to stress over it. I feel like
Mhm.
whenever I talk to somebody that I'm training, their number one thing is they're so hard on themselves if like they've fallen off by 2 days, or they're like,
Mhm.
oh no, I can't sign up for this entire program because 4 days I'm taking a vacation. And I'm like, that is okay. That's normal. That's life.
Mhm.
And so I figured why not kind of share our toughest times on like how we stay consistent. So do you want to go first? Do you want me to?
I'll jump in. Is
Okay.
actually no. I think yours will be the more obvious answer, and then mine's
Okay.
like a little bit different takes. Actually, I'd like you to go first.
Okay. So I feel like, at least when I go out, I want to talk about, because holidays are coming up. That means we're going to be drinking, we're going to have wine, we're going to have cocktails, we're going to eat lots of cookies. And then the next day, we're not going to feel the best, right? So the
Mhm.
biggest time that I have to really focus on just like being consistent while I'm maybe visiting family or having lots of drinks and having fun with my parents, whatever it is trying to plan ahead of time with like a class pass if I'm traveling to see my dad or my mom. Class pass is like you actually can get a decent deal with it. And then you can just pick whatever type of exercise you want. So, say you're hungover, which has happened to me multiple times, and
Mhm.
I'm like, I just want to get a little movement in, pick a yoga class. Maybe pick a spin class that's like a little bit more low intent. Well, I feel like spin is actually always high intensity. Never mind. But
Mhm.
yoga, maybe some Pilates, or I've even done this where I get the 24-hour pass. It's like they have a 7-day pass, I think, for $20. And
Mhm.
I'll go and I'll just like go for a walk. Maybe I'll read my book. And it also kind of keeps me sane because then I have like alone time because I'm
Mhm.
like secretly a little introvert and I want to like recharge, right?
I love that. Then mine would be like I have a little spectrum. One is I'm just going to say first of all just embrace the season. Sometimes that's in your life like summer you're like I'm just going to go with it. I've worked all year. If my friends say go out for a drink, I'm going to go for a drink. If last minute spontaneity, push everything aside. But with that, that will get you to like crave naturally routine and like embrace that. Like embrace your in your routine. That's what will bring you joy come fall. Like I'm typically like that come fall. Like I just naturally want to go back to that healthy routine. But with that, like for example, the wedding coming up. I want to get back in routine. I need to prioritize work, even though I have this wedding. And how do I not be hungover? So I'll pack things like electrolytes, really set up my night, which we'll talk about later on in the podcast, of how not to be hungover, how to bounce back the next day so it doesn't trickle into the rest of my week. So I have down weeks when I'm craving this routine. And then on the flip side, also remind yourself that I know something a lot of us really prioritize our morning routine, our evening routine, which is amazing. It allows us to be so optimal and recovered and good sleep. But then I don't think we can be so reliant on them. Like I know I was like that. I had the sleep routine and everything has to be good. And heaven forbid I don't have this and I don't have a good enough sleep. I'm going to die, because without sleep, we die young. Like my mind starts spiraling. And I started reformatting it and like reframing it that I get great sleep 95% of the time. I have a sleep routine 95% of the time. My cup is overflowing. So if there's a week, life happens, it's a holiday, and you lose a couple hours of sleep one day, you're okay. Now, versus if you never got good sleep and then you can't pour from an empty cup. But if your cup is flowing, you could live a little, live a little. So just a little reminder.
Okay. I love the metaphor.
Mm-hmm.
The cup, classic.
It's a classic for a reason.
Right? So, okay, the next one was, I thought it'd be fun to talk about reframing like the guilt around this, which I think we all deal with. Like I am somebody, I don't know if you relate to this. Actually, you are somebody that's like this, where you just talked about it in one of the podcasts where you feel extremely guilty if you're not productive. I'll like feel extremely guilty if I don't get a certain amount of steps in. Like it's like my brain's like, you got to get all your energy out. Like today I'm taking a ton of calls for my Fit Girl Fall Challenge. And I'm really thankful that I'm meeting all these girls, but I'm like, shit, I literally have no time to go work out. So what I did was I like woke up a little bit early, 30 minutes earlier, took Bentley for a long walk. But at least like it kind of helped me with that.
Yeah.
But with reframing the guilt, I feel like it's okay to let loose, like you were saying. It's more of like, how do you enjoy the nights out without feeling so guilty about missing a workout or, indulging? So we had a few tips. And the number one is plan an active rest day around social events. This is like one of my favorite things to do is like, if I am not getting enough sleep, maybe I stayed up to pick someone from the airport. It's not always drinking, right? It could just be you're staying up late. Maybe be like, hey, I'm going to do yoga the next morning, or like ask your family, your friends to do it. Don't like plan a high intensity workout, or don't plan your crazy leg day for the next day if you pounded like cranberry vodkas, right?
Oh, fully. Like that's one of my biggest like hangover hacks is like, it's still sometimes it feels good to move. Sometimes that will give you more energy, but don't think you have to punish yourself, because your most high intensity workouts you should be 100% recovered for, because then you'll get the most out of it. Like that, your hardest workout, you're only going to be able to go 75% because you're not well rested. So there's no point of like setting yourself up for failure. Plan that for another day and just try to get some movement in. Don't be like, oh, I stayed up late and so now I have to have the best workout ever tomorrow to make up for it. I'm like, it's kind of physically impossible. Like, don't do that to yourself.
Yeah, definitely. When I was in Arizona recently, we went wine tasting and I drank so much wine. I woke up the next day being like, yeah, I'll feel hungover. And my dad works at a gym. So every day before his shift, we would go together to the gym like an hour before, and then we'd both work out. And then I'd just like drive the car back and then pick him up later. And I felt so dead that like I wasn't even going to bother trying to lift weights. I think back in the day, I would have been like toxic for my mental health and been like, you must lift this weight even though you want to vomit. Where this time I was like, I'm just going to incline walk and read my book. And my dad was like, oh yeah, you're not feeling too hot, are you? And I was like, no. So yeah, it's okay. Like the fact you're even going and getting movement in of an active rest day, going for a walk is a win. Like, right? You're treating your body with kindness that way after you wrecked your body.
Exactly. Balance, as it's
called. Balance, girlies. Okay. 2, focus on balance, not restriction. So much easier said than done. But I really try to think of abundance, even when it comes to like my macros, of being like how they make me feel and how I feel energized, and like really try to reframe that mindset that you have of, maybe you're like, oh, I can't have this amount of pizza because I'm on X, Y, and Z. It's like, it's a losing game if you're so
Mhm.
restrictive. You might as well do little bits to keep yourself balanced and not keep yourself from going cuckoo.
Exactly. And I think like a bird's eye view helps a lot. I know like one of my things is like toxic productivity, and that like I can't give myself a day off because then suddenly it'll be a downhill spiral and all that kind of things. And like you've gotten to this point, you're going to be okay tomorrow. And like I think like we all, a lot of like type A personalities think like I've haven't been able to take, like you said, you're traveling all day or you're sitting all day. And you're like, oh my God, this is the beginning of the end. I'm never gonna be active, and then I'm gonna be just like sedentary. And it's like, no, tomorrow's a new day. And in the bird's eye view, at your year, 5 days, you're royally effed up. Like that's literally nothing. So I think sometimes like a reminder of like, this is not one day, this isn't your life. And the sum of everything, it's very minuscule. But like you said, if you do a bird's eye view and you're like, oh, I haven't exercised in 6 months, something to reflect on.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. I mean, if you're on a holiday trip with your family, this is what I try to tell myself. I'm going to remember what I did with my family. I'm not going to remember me going to the gym at 6 a.m. So it's like, if you want to just take a rest, and like resting is healthy for you. Like you're not supposed to be so rigid with your exercise. So like keep that in mind. It's okay to have little breaks and embrace them. But also, like you said, not letting it go too long. Because I think that's where we all can have like such extreme personalities, whether it's good or bad, where if, it doesn't go our way, we'll give up entirely. That used to be my thing. I would always be like, oh, well, a French fry fell in my mouth. I'm done. And then now I'm like, eat the freaking French fry. And then, tomorrow, like get back on working out if you want.
Exactly. And I think that comes down, actually go on to the next, because I'm going to say something we wanted to talk about later.
Okay. You're trying to ruin my episode I planned, ma'am.
It's amazing.
So this one's for you. 3 is hydrate and fuel smartly. This is your jam. Take it off.
This is my favorite. I mean,
take it away.
Hydrate, simple. Get enough water. It's going to be different on your body size. You can do a calculator, but also hydrate with electrolytes. And because the salt has been demonized. Now, if you have a doctor that's telling you, you can't have sodium, that's different. But you need sodium, potassium, magnesium. Next time you sweat, taste your sweat. That's disgusting. We've all tasted it, but it's salty because you need to hydrate with electrolytes. And that would be it.
I love it. You know who loves sweat? Squirrel.
Oh.
Yes. How'd you guess?
Dogs love to just lick a sweaty leg. They love it. See, there's proof of my hypothesis. You know what I mean? Because people are like, oh, you don't need salt or anything. Go see a deer licking a rock. Go see a dog, like, because your body needs the salt. And so they'll find any way to get it. So that's why when your dog's licking your leg, he just thinks of you as a giant Gatorade bottle.
Literally. I thought when you said deer, like in my head, you're going to say like deer lick you. And I was like, what? I'm like, you get that close to deer? That's impressive.
Yeah. What can I say? I'm one with nature.
Exactly. But yeah, that is one of my favorite things about Bentley. I do tell him to stop after a while because it gets annoying, but it's hilarious. Our friends are always that don't have dogs are like, why is he licking me? And I'm like, you idiot. You taste like salt. Of course he's going to like that.
There you go.
There you go. All right. Last but not least is set realistic expectations. So really just going off of what we were saying, where like, don't plan an intense CrossFit class 6 a.m. after you like wanted to go drink and play Monopoly with your friends. Like just be smart about it so you set yourself up for success. Like be nice, be kind. It's when you get the extremes is when you just fall off.
Under promise, over deliver to yourself. And here's my biggest life hack is I am bad. Like I'll start my week. I'm like, oh, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this run. I'm going to do this workout and all this. And then I screw up one thing because life gets in the way. And I'm like, oh, I failed. I didn't do everything I set out to do. Now, I'm not saying like that's good. It's good to have a plan and all that. But at the same time, sometimes it's best to like plan as little as possible, knowing momentum. Like I use that trick of if I don't want to go to the gym, I just say I have to go to the gym for 30 seconds. And then I can leave. And by the time I start for 30 seconds, I'm like, it's not too bad. I might as well stay. And so sometimes it's just like set out very basic expectations of I'm just going to go to the gym twice a week. And before you know it, you get to the gym, you start working out, you're already there. And sometimes underpromise yourself, and just like it's almost like easier to do than not to do. And then just get some momentum going. And before you know it, you're like, oh, I've got a good groove going. Trick yourself like you would a child.
Wow, that is like a great advice to just show up for 30 seconds.
It works.
It's like anyone can do
every
it.
time. I go to the
Okay.
gym and I'm like, I'm just going to go there and do one calf stretch. That's all I'm going to do. I'm like, that seems easy. And then I'm like, I might as well stretch the other calf. Got my hammy. You know what? That dumbbell looks kind of nice. It works like a charm. I know I'm doing it to myself and it still works.
You know you're tricking your brain. You're like,
Yeah.
Kelty, come this way. Come this way.
Remember, we got dumb monkey brains. You can trick it. You can trick it.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think that's probably the greatest hack we could all take away. Yeah, I think just truly balance is key. A lot of people talk about that 80-20 rule, which I know you do want to chat on. But at least for me, like, I feel like I was so extreme in the beginning of my fitness journey when I first started, when I found it. I think everybody goes through that. We've talked about that.
Fully.
Everyone goes through that. Like, we have to find ourselves, okay? But it's like you find your sweet spot of balance to maintain it. And I feel like a lot of people struggle. They'll be really in shape one year, and then the next year they won't. And they're like, I don't understand. So it's like you have to figure out that balance. But this is a really random tidbit. But like before I get to it, in my mind, I think learning to balance and like still prioritize yourself and like having those active rest days and like still loving yourself through this process and not feeling so bad for indulging is like a form of practicing self-love and respect,
100%.
right? You're respecting yourself to go to the gym and like you promised yourself you'd do it. Like that's, for me, it's like a non-negotiable of if I'm going to do it for my partner, why can't I do it for myself, right? So
Fully.
I think that's helpful. But this tidbit, I literally saw it on TikTok today.
Ooh.
Anna Starr, the girly we love. And
her.
so she posted this really interesting TikTok. And it was like, she was like, oh, conversations with my therapist. And she told her therapist, like, hey, I signed up for a triathlon. And the therapist was like, oh, wow, that's random. Like, what inspired you? And she was like, I don't know. I just signed up. And she was like, do you sign up often? And she was like, I mean, I'll do things like this. And she said this one tidbit that was like, are you always trying to prove something to yourself? And like, as in like Anna was saying, she was being really intense and like really extreme on herself, which I think having these goals are amazing. Like triathlon, whatever you want, do it. But it was such like a good self-reflection TikTok of being like, wait, because I do that where I'll like make myself go on these challenges and I love them. But I'm like, what am I trying to prove to myself? That I'm worthy of it? That I can like finish something I started? Like it's not always bad, but it's kind of like an internal question to ask yourself. Why are you trying to always prove something?
Definitely. And here's a real hot take with that. I'm not saying this is always the case, but sometimes it's the case. You're procrastinating. I do think sometimes you'll do these challenges, you'll do something, because signing up for a marathon is like, oh, it's something to work towards and I have this mission. It's like, okay, but is your mission in life to run a marathon? Are you trying to be an Olympic runner? Can you do it as part of your workout routine and a challenge to like prove to yourself it's a bucket list item? Do it. I'm all for training for a marathon. But I do think sometimes people have like things they actually want to work towards, but do you know what I mean? It's like scary or it's overwhelming. So they choose other little things they're constantly doing instead of doing the thing they actually want to be doing. I know like I'm guilty of that. It's like reading the self-development book instead of just opening your textbook and studying. Do you know what I mean? It is good for you, but it's actually procrastination. Like it's like productive procrastination. So I'm not saying that's the case for her, but that's like another thing that I do see myself doing sometimes. Like I take on these other things and it's productive and it's good, but I'm like, but yeah, is it helping you be more fit? Is it helping you spend more time with family? Is it helping towards your career? Is helping? And suddenly you sit there like, no, it's really just a waste of time. I'm not saying marathons always, but just some food for thought.
I love that. Yeah, I can totally see that in myself as well.
Yeah, we all do.
I'm like, keep in mind, everybody. Yeah, I'm like, we are not perfect. I'm like saying these tips. I'm like, man, this is a good tip. I should take this away.
Write in my journal tonight. Note to self, you are only doing that for procrastination.
Right? I'm like, why do I must prove to myself always?
100%.
I love it. Okay, well, what's your little tidbit on it? You wrote something about 80-20.
And also with the 80-20 rule, I think that's so popular. Like, if you don't know the 80-20 rule, honestly, I'm impressed because you're not on social media that much, and I wish I was you. But anyways, 80-20 rule. It's like with anything. It's like 80% of the time, the hard work, the hard things, 20% just enjoy. But I think it actually takes some time to like reframe that and like actually see what that means to you. What's the 20% that actually brings you the most joy? What is actually worth that? Even though you know that's not great for you, even if you know it's like, you know, spending money you shouldn't, time away, whatever the case is, that it fits into your 20, and be like, it's so good, it's worth it, whether it be your favorite place you shop at once a year, or it's the snack you love, or it's the time, whatever, like really concentrate it. And then it's like such a thing to look forward to. And you're like, life isn't worth living without pizza. So you should have those 20% and really think it through. But then with the 80%, doesn't mean 80% is bad. Like, I think sometimes, like, why would you want the 80-20% when like 80% of your life is miserable? Think of like, what is the 80% that you enjoy that's going to get you towards your goals? And like, that's where I think like the 80-20%, it doesn't really work, which should be 100%, in the sense that like healthy food to me, like I only eat healthy food I enjoy. And yeah, do you know what I mean? And I hope that makes sense. So I was like, if you really struggle with that, the 80-20 rule, it's like, just make sure that 80% is stuff you genuinely enjoy. Find the recipes you like, find the workouts you enjoy doing. If you're working hard towards something like a marathon, you should enjoy running. 80% is going to be hard, but don't do it if you don't enjoy running. Like, some days you wake up and you don't want to do the things you have to do, but just make sure that 80% isn't pure misery. Because sometimes, like at the 80-20% rule, I'm like, why would you want to spend 80% of your life miserable? Like,
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
just
totally.
a little, make sure the 80% is something you don't grow to resent.
Yeah. I think also if anybody's thinking like, oh, like, I think sometimes I hear this where they're like, well, I hate being healthy or eating healthy or whatever, right? There will always be something you enjoy that is healthier or just good for you. You just got to look. Like,
And
don't dismiss it. And then you'll find it.
And that's where it's like, I'm saying it's not necessarily easy. The 80% is still hard, but that's where the hard is. It's like, find the healthy things you like in that 80%. And there's the hard work and all that. You still have to show up early for practices and things like that. But like you said, you can find it. And then and then that's where that balance is easy. It becomes like default. Like, eating healthy is easy. You're going to put pumpkin in things? Easy.
Yeah.
Like stuff like that.
Okay. Like little sidebar. What would be your top 5 non-negotiable 20% that you love? That you absolutely love?
Chocolate.
Okay.
Shopping.
Okay.
I do like shopping a lot. What else? Can I say like a beach day? Like, I think this is kind of healthy, but you know what I mean, like going down to the water. Like, I was like, is that healthy or not? But you know what I mean, like, I need like a day to kind of just go wander by the water.
Okay,
You know
like
what I
a
mean?
relaxing day.
Like, whether I just be jumping, swimming in the water, walking by the
Okay,
water.
that is
jumping
I
know, that's what I was like, but that's like,
go back to
I
food.
could be floating there. Food, okay, just food. Or we're talking. You know what? A Netflix show. I need like my shit television once a night. Like, you know what I mean? My reality television. Yeah, definitely need that. My trashy podcasts that balance out my productive podcasts, and country music. I love.
What's wrong with country music?
Nothing, but you know what I mean? Like, it's not like, oh, this just like good old just basic country or getting drunk at 5 p.m. and I just enjoy listening to it. And it's not really like classical music, and it doesn't have these poetic things. It's just like, I got drunk with my beer and it's 5 p.m. Yeah, banger.
Yeah, you're like, woohoo! You know,
Exactly.
not to brag, you guys, but I have been playing the Bridgerton classical musical on YouTube and the calm piano of Taylor Swift, and I've never felt more classy.
See, that's why I'm like, that's in the 80%. You are sophisticated. You are cutesy, demure. Okay, that's good. Okay,
what's my yours? 5 would be French fries. Oh, I fucking love a fried potato. Coffee, as in like, I love buying expensive coffee. I don't know why. Michael brought this up to me because Maddie and I cooked majority of the time. We really didn't like go out at all. We went and saw the new Channing Tatum movie, 10 out of 10, blink twice. Great movie. You should see it. But we did that. but mostly we just like beached it up. We paid for Pilates, like healthy things that he's like, man, if my friend was here, I'd be like going out to eat. I'd be drinking, which I mean, she's pregnant, but like I didn't drink just because like I'm a social drinker. Why would I drink if she's not? But I was like, the one thing I told him, I'm like, you like to eat out? I will tear it up at a coffee shop. I will buy 3 lattes in a day. And I know it's not healthy for me as in like unnecessary spending. I can make this at house, like my house, at house. But do you have purse? But okay, what am I at? 3? 2?
I honestly lost count.
Okay,
Just
I think
go with 3.
Chocolate, trashy podcasts. I know they're dirt, but like sue me. I want to hear the tea.
Yeah.
And probably my reading. And like I don't think reading's bad, but like I'm not really into the self-development at the moment. I'm into like fantasy, and I'm reading 9 books, and I'm like literally like I don't watch TV anymore because all I'm doing is reading about assassins right now and
I love it.
Fairies, and they usually have sex, and it's great.
Amazing. Someone's going to call me out for not mentioning that I didn't mention a cinnamon bun and beer. That's got to be in my 20% because that is
Together?
not at the same time, but I mean like 80% of my 20% is cinnamon buns and beer. So I was like, dude, I also got to
cinnamon buns.
Include that.
They are the wonders of the world. Oh my God. I love a cinnamon bun.
I don't believe anyone on earth can't like a cinnamon bun. Just no.
Michael. I know. Jail.
Leave him. Divorce.
Leave him now. No, actually, keep him because then I get to eat all the cinnamon buns. Because honestly, my friend, so I have this friend, Leticia. She and I are whipped cream sugar fiends. We take turns giving each other treats when we travel. I'll like bring her back pistachio chocolate. She brings me a little treat. That's our relationship. She drops by my house one day giving me 4 Cinnabons, like Cinnabuns. And I was like, I think I gave 1 to Mildred and the rest were mine. And I was like, Michael, you want one? He's like, I don't like those. I'm like, actually, literally it's heaven in my mouth.
That's why I was like, actually, I take it all back. You married the perfect man because you'll never have to share a cinnamon bun. Honestly, I was going to clap, but I almost knocked over my microphone.
I agree. But then like, that rule where it's like, well, if you don't want one, I don't want one. So that can be annoying. I am that girl. Like Maddie, when we went, so we did go out to pizza one day. And I go, Maddie, there's an ice cream shop next door. She goes, is that you saying you want ice cream? And I said, And I'm like, if you don't get it, I'm not getting it. It's forced. Like, it's not fun to eat alone.
No.
I want to eat with you and try yours too.
Exactly. That's half it. You want to try it. But I guess most places sell cinnamon buns also sell other things. So, you know what I mean? You can get them into a coffee shop, get the cinnamon bun. You can have his croissant or whatever. Craziness.
Yeah. Croissant. Unless you're European, then it's not crazy. It's so normal there. Okay. Next up is prepping for success. And that is plan ahead. And here's some tips on how we plan ahead for a late night. Maybe you're traveling. Yeah. For me, electrolytes, water. And you're really good at drinking like a cup of water every drink. I think that's like a fantastic rule because alcohol dehydrates you. Eating beforehand. Don't go out on an empty stomach. You're an adult. Take care of yourself. I hate that when people are like, no, you didn't eat. And I'm like, how old are we? We are not college kids anymore. And if you are, I can kind of understand it. I used to eat popcorn dipped in ranch for my dinner before I went out in college. I was an animal.
I respect it.
Yeah.
Built different.
Choosing things that won't make me hungover. So I'll drink 1 sugary drink and then the rest will just be like vodka sodas because sugar just like kills me. Getting my workout in before and just being like smart about it. Like just knowing the next day, if I didn't get my leg day in, I'm just going to get it in right then and go before I go out because I'm not going to do it tomorrow. And just, I try not to stay out late. My body like doesn't like itself after 11 o'clock. And so I've just learned like something after 27 hit me and I was like, you're done after 11. What's yours?
First, we mentioned before, no intense workouts the next day. You can plan like a recovery workout, like a movement activity, especially honestly swimming the next day is the best thing because the cold, it's so nice. But like don't do CrossFit. You're going to hurt yourself. Now, also electrolytes. We'll say you have to have your electrolytes. Personally, I always double up. I'll have one either right before I go out. If I know I'm going out for a long time, I'm dancing, I'll have an extra one before and one when I come home, and just accept that, yeah, it's a lot of sodium and I'm not going to inflict that upon you, but I do that. But I'm going to give one tip. I set out all my drinks I need to drink when I come home for recovery. So I don't expect myself to make an element and shake it up into water when I'm intoxicated, because I'll forget. So I set them all up. But I made a major mistake last time that I don't want you all to make. So I made all these like little drinks I was going to drink, put them in my fridge, and I got home and I was exhausted and I just wanted to go to bed. I was like, you got to get that electrolyte. So I go in the fridge to chug it, and it's ice cold. And I was in so much pain chugging this ice cold drink. And I was like, just trying to get it down, and my brain freeze, and I was miserable. So be careful of the cold. So just know yourself. So I now don't always prep it in the fridge because brain freeze, unless you can do that. Just if you got to chug because you pass out, put it right beside your bed, put it on the kitchen, just have it ready to go. And also have a bucket of ice for in the morning, just help a hangover. There's no science, it just feels real nice to rub an ice cube on your face or your neck.
True.
It just feels good. It's not good for your skin, it just feels good.
Yeah, I agree. I remember one of the nights of my bachelorette, you were running early in the morning. Megan, my friend, texted me and was like, "Are you up?" And I was like, "Yes," because I couldn't sleep and it was like 6 a.m. She's like, "Want to ice your face with me?" And I was like, "Yes." And I think you came in. We were like sitting on the couch, just put ice cubes on our face, and it was a glorious moment.
It's so nice.
So hungover.
It's such a placebo effect. I always feel my face gets really puffy when I drink, and it probably does, but the ice it's probably placebo. Be careful. You can damage your skin, but I feel like it helps your dopamine. I tell myself it helps my dopamine that's depleted from drinking. The cold ice helps it. It's placebo effect. Placebo effect.
If Michael and I are hungover, we jump into our cold plunge.
Oh, it actually helps. Nice.
100%. I mean, it's not nice in the moment, but it helps.
True. That'll do it. That'll do it.
Yeah. Okay. We will leave you off on 10 tips that we wrote out that might help you. Hopefully. It could be up for debate. Tip number 1, pack your gym bag the night before. This could also just be if not even drinking. It could be like burnout, or maybe you're just like not feeling it. Like plan ahead of time, pack your gym bag, or even better yet, like say what I do is like if I have a meeting and I want to go to the gym right after, if I wait until after that meeting, I won't go. So I have to change right before the meeting, wear my gym clothes in the meeting, and then I'll go straight to it.
Smart. Very smart.
Yeah. 2 is book a class or like a training session in advance. Now this can get dodgy. This could mean, obviously don't do a 6 a.m. one, okay, guys? But maybe do like a 5 p.m., 3 p.m. But like something about financially committing to something, you will show up because you're just wasting money unless you're extremely hungover. But like I've never been that hungover that I will waste my money. That's for sure. Yeah. Have you?
Gone to a class hungover?
No, not shown up to a class even though you signed up because you were hungover.
I think once or twice on a girls' trip, and it was like a communal thing. We're all like, we're not going. I think that's happened. So, but I probably have. I'm pretty good at not. But I will say that's a good hack. Say like over the weekend, you were sleeping in, you're going out, you want to get back to your regular sleep schedule. Early morning class is a great hack of like forcing yourself to start getting up early again.
True.
So that's why I book 6 a.m. classes. If you see me in a 6 a.m. class, just know I'm just trying to get my sleep schedule this way.
Oh, sounds awful.
Main reason.
Yeah.
Main reason.
Okay. 3, set a short, realistic goal, just like you were saying. Just make it 15, 20 minutes stretch, like you were saying, or go for a walk. And then see how you feel. 4, opt in for morning workouts on event days. If you know you're not you're going to be tired. You're not going to go. Like, stop, like, Linda, stop saying you're going to go. You're not going to go. I need to tell myself this. In my head, I was like, after my friend's birthday dinner tonight, I'm going to go to the gym. No, bitch, you're going to go home. No. You're going to watch Emily in Paris with your hand in some M&Ms, and you're going to go to bed.
Fully. I'm just like, refuse to be productive after 5 p.m. And I assume that. I'm like, so if I want to do productive things, has to be before. It will never be after. Just hard.
Absolutely.
Hard stop. Boundaries. Put your boundaries up.
Yes. Okay, next up, prioritize protein and healthy fats before drinking. So eat a well-balanced meal. And that just like helps in general, also not overindulging and be a little bit fuller. Might help you with some muscle recovery as well.
Because I guess the take would be you're probably not going to order a chicken breast at 2 p.m., but you'll get your fries in, you'll get your pizza in, or 2
Yeah.
a.m. You know what I mean? After drinking, so
Honestly, it
make
depends
sure.
on how you are drunk because I can pound anything no matter what. I could eat a whole piece of, or a whole pizza and then I'll be drunk and I'll be like, 3 more, please.
I
I am a
respect it.
bottomless pit. So I do have to be aware of it. That was my downfall in college.
Are you at pros and cons? Pros and
Pros and
cons.
cons. Yeah. Okay. Next, stick to hydration drinks. So just get some Element if you want. There's even Liquid IV. Go to a 7-Eleven. Just get something in. Next up, partner up with a friend. So maybe you're on a trip and if you're like, hey, like let's commit to going for a walk. I did this for my friend's wedding once where I was like, let's get up early. We can have our girly chat and we'll get our walk in before the wedding. And she was like, perfect. She slept in though. And so it was just me. But
Sometimes it
ideally would have been prime.
And it can be a fun way to try if you're traveling, like you're going to an event with someone. Like when me and my girlfriends did our Miami Miami trip last September, we wanted to try some of the cool Pilates classes in Miami. So we like booked 2 of them. So it's just like a fun way. It's like it's one of the events you're doing. So that can be a really fun way to be like, oh, what would it be like to be a fit girl in LA? Go check out what they do in LA or wherever it is you're traveling. Or like, and it doesn't have to be a bougie class. It could be go look for like some outdoor yoga classes that are happening, or just go on TikTok and see what the girlies in that city are doing and just cosplay being them for a day.
Yeah. You know what I did when I was in New York? So I wanted to get my workout in and I had like the morning only. And I knew the only way I was going to do it was if I went to a class. So I texted my friend Lena. She's a YouTuber, Lena Lifts. And I was like, hey girl, you want to meet up for a workout class? And she was like, yeah. And I said, you pick it. So then it's like she kind of planned it. We did coffee and everything. But yeah, that's a fun way to catch up with your friends or,
Definitely.
you know, just try, like you said, try the element of where you're at.
Exactly. Love it.
Yeah. Okay. Next up, focus on functional movement. So do like low intensity exercises like stretching, walking, yoga, just to get yourself back into it without pushing yourself too hard. You're not going to be so sore. And lastly is track your progress over time. If you notice you're being like a little too lenient, like just pay attention to that. And, you know, it's okay to take breaks, but like I said, if you're doing it constantly, it's going to catch up on to you, you know?
It's just that balance. Like you said, bird's eye view. It shows a lot and have a little way. And like tracking progress can be so simple as like just have, buy a big calendar for the year and be like, I'm going to stretch 50 times this year. And every time you stretch, just check it off. And that's so satisfying to do. And it will give you a reality check of like, you fall off for 2 weeks and you look back, you're like, I've been so good for this year. And if I just like copy and paste the first half of the year to the second half of the year, this 2 weeks in there won't matter in the scheme of things at all.
Definitely. Okay. Well, I'll leave us with, we got a cute DM. So if you guys ever want to write into us, if you want advice, a confession session, shoot us a DM on our podcast Instagram. But this girl said, hey, I've been listening to you guys for about 1.5 years now, and I'm such a huge fan. I noticed in your podcast that you are both super on top of reading subscriber follower messages. So I felt encouraged to reach out. I ran my first ever race in April, and it was the Tacoma City Marathon. Okay, do you think this is the one in Washington? Is there another Tacoma?
It must be, because I'm looking, I read the next paragraph. She's from Vancouver. So you know what I mean? It's kind of quick down there. So probably. There's
Way
no
to
Tacoma.
Represent both of us.
I was going to say there's no Tacoma up here in BC that I know of. So
okay,
I think so.
You know, this girl was telling me on a call, like, I'm from Des Moines. And I was like, Washington? And she was like, no. And I was like, oh, there's multiple. But Tacoma is in Washington, you guys. So that's really cool. And she said, but we ran the route I just needed to finish reading the thing. So I run Tacoma all the time. My mom lives near Tacoma, and there's a waterfront that her and I run. She said, but we ran the route Sav mentioned. She ran with her mom, I think, along the seawall. It was so beautiful. So anybody visiting Tacoma, it's called Ruston Way. It's gorgeous. I listened to your podcast 3.5 out of the 4 hours and 10 minutes it took me to run. The last push of time I took from Kelty and made a final push playlist. Overall, hitting the bars got me through a marathon. The mix of personality, humor, bond, and hot topics were exactly what I needed to give me the perfect mental block to focus in on the physical challenges throughout the time. Thanks, lovely humans.
Oh my
Isn't that
God,
so cute?
Jessica, we love
I know.
you.
Wow, I wasn't going to call her out. What if she wanted to be anonymous?
She would have said anonymous. And you know what? I want her to hear Jessica because that's a very common name. So you know what? We're not doubting everyone. So I was
That's
like,
true.
You know what? I was like, Jessica, you'll know. We won't give out last names or government names and all that, but just know, Jessica, we love you, and I want you to hear me say your name because we love you.
It's so cute, and it makes me so happy that you are listening to us and thinking of us, and how on point that you want to do Vancouver, where you're from, and Tacoma, where I'm from. And it's just, she's one of us, basically. She's like a hybrid of us. Sheesh.
I mean, you listen to that much of us talk. You are one of us now. You know us.
Literally. You have morphed into us.
Oh my God, but congrats. Honestly, running a marathon, and I hope you get a run BMO next year if you want to.
Yeah,
because that one sells out fast, apparently.
Yeah. Well, with that being said, guys, don't forget, check us out on YouTube if you want to watch us. If you want to leave us a review, leave a little comment. Hopefully it's nice. And we'll see you next time.
Bye. Bye.